Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another preview and predictions video. The team that we're going to be taking an in-depth look at today is our 2024 North Carolina Tar Heels football team. We're going to do a complete preview of their entire roster, seeing what pieces they lost from last year's squad, what pieces they are adding to this year's squad, but also looking at their 2024 college football schedule, trying to predict the outcome for every single game and trying to predict what their final record will be at the end of the season. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below and I will make sure to respond. So our 2024 North Carolina Tar Heels. This is a team that has been very competitive in the ACC conference since head coach Mack Brown took over at the helm. He's had some really good quarterbacks. Obviously, his most recent first-round pick, Drake May, he's now gone, but he did go first round. They've been kicking out quarterbacks into the draft for a little while now. So this is an offense that has been firing on all cylinders for the last 5 or 6 years. Their Achilles heel has usually actually mainly been due to the defensive side of the ball. They need to get things up to par there. They have the same questions going into this season that they had last season on the defensive side of the ball. Now, Vegas does have them coming in at 7.5 wins this year. But gone is quarterback Drake May, wide receiver Tez Walker. So they lost their two main playmakers, but you have the Texas A&M transfer, Mac Johnson, who was a 4-star quarterback, transferring over from the Aggies to the Tar Heels. Now, he has a lot of starts under his belt from his time with the Aggies. I have some questions about him, but I think he'll fit just fine into this Carolina's offense. The schedule actually isn't too bad this season. They avoid a lot of the tougher teams in the ACC conference. The offense, even without Drake May, should be able to move the ball and score. The talent's there, especially in the run game. So they have the run game that they're able to lean on. That's going to buy Max Johnson some time to get familiar with the scheme. Running back Hampton is back. He had over 1,500 yards last season. He's a top 3 running back in all of college football. That's a massive advantage for this team for the passing game and also for the defense. It buys you time to rest. Backup quarterback Connor Harrell, he's been fighting for a spot, but Max Johnson should be the main guy. The running game is what every quarterback needs. That's his best friend. It's going to buy Johnson the time to find those open targets. You have J.J. Jones, you have Blackwell, you have McCollum, you have Bryson Nesbitt, you have Copenhaver. You have a lot of guys on the team that can help you find targets. There's a lot of skill there. UNC's defense, as I mentioned, that was the Achilles heel for the last few years. But Brown did part ways with the defensive coordinator, Gene Chizik, and he's bringing over the defensive coordinator, Collins, now. He's going to be the new defensive coordinator. He was the former head coach at Georgia Tech. He's been at Georgia. He's actually a really good defensive coordinator. So look for him to whip that side of the ball into shape. There's skill there. There's Akers, Rutgers, Evans, Atkinson, Harris, Eccles, Campbell, Aussie. There's a lot of guys there. Can Collins get the max out of them? If they can just get their defense up to a top 50 defense, the offense is more than capable of carrying the load. Now, let's take a look at this schedule. So they kick things off August 29th at Minnesota. Another kind of interesting out-of-conference game. Minnesota under PJ Fleck, sometimes they have a really competitive physical team. They can run the ball. But North Carolina should be the more skilled team. They are on the road to start this year, but the running game travels with you. Look for Carolina to win this one. I'm going to say it's going to be a 34-20 game. They're 1-0. They follow that up Saturday, September 7th versus Charlotte. This should be an easy in-state game. The offense should continue to get better. The defense should continue to get better as they're getting more and more reps. Look for them to win this game pretty big. I'm going to say it's going to be a 52-17 game. They're 2-0. Then after that, Saturday, September 4th. So you see how they're kind of starting out the schedule with a couple cupcake games, which is good for a team that has new schemes. Saturday, September 14th versus North Carolina Central. This is another team, obviously, they should beat the brakes off of. I'm going to put this one at a 55-17 game. They're 3-0. Saturday, September 21st versus James Madison. This is a team that's actually been pretty competitive for the last few years, but they in no way should be able to compete with these Power 4 teams. They should roll here. I'm going to say it's going to be a 42-24 game. and they're 4-0. Really strong start to the year. Saturday, September 28th at Duke. So now you're starting to get into ACC conference play. Duke, they have Murphy transferring over from Texas at the quarterback position. You have Manny Diaz, one of the best defensive minds in all college football. He's now the head coach. He's going to recruit well, going to work the portal, but they're completely transitioning the Duke roster. This is a massive in-state, in-conference rivalry, but they should not be able to compete with the Tar Heels just yet. Look for Carolina to continue to roll here. I'm going to put this one at a 33-24 game. They're 5-0. Saturday, October 5th versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is one of those teams, sometimes they have really good seasons, and then sometimes they have really bad seasons. And back-to-back sometimes. They might win 10 games. Next year, they might miss a bowl game. So you really don't know what you're getting out of Pitt. They've had high expectations for the last 5 or 6 seasons because they've delivered some seasons, they've let down other seasons. Last year was not a good year, so it almost seems like they're due this year to have a reputable season, like a 7 or 8 win season. They're always competitive. Obviously, they have a defensive-minded head coach. They always have a tough defense, physical at the line of scrimmage, and they can lean on the run game. I'm going to go with things having gone so well for Carolina, they drop this game because it's kind of the first competitive game, and they're just not ready for it yet. I have them losing this one in a close one, 27-24. They're 5-1. They followed that up Saturday, October 12th for what's going to be a personal game for the defensive coordinator Collins. They play Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech won, 8 or 9 games last season. You have King back at quarterback. They've been working the portal. They're a really competitive team. They have a really decent offense. They have a really decent defense. I have Georgia Tech getting the win here at UNC, performing very well. I think they're another 8-win squad this season. I have North Carolina dropping to 5-2 just because they're getting hit with some new challenges getting deeper into conference play. Do not panic, though. Things are still looking bright for the season, but they're going to lose this one. Let's put it at a 30-27, 5-2. After that, Saturday, October 26th at Virginia. They need to get back to their winning ways. Virginia has a lot of issues on both sides of the ball and at the head coach position. They're going to win this one big. I have it 38-24, and they're 6-2. Saturday, November 2nd at Florida State. Florida State, they're bringing in DJU. They had obviously undefeated regular season team last season. They lost almost everybody from that team, but they've been able to retool through recording, through the portal. Norvell's been working hard. DJU is a transitional type of quarterback. He's not going to light things up. He's not going to win the Heisman, but he's serviceable and he's not going to make very many mistakes. I have Florida State. They should just still have the way better rounded roster. I have Florida State winning this one at home 38-27, and North Carolina is 6-3. Saturday, November 16th versus Wake Forest. Wake Forest really honestly has nothing going for them since Sam Hartman left for Notre Dame last season. They don't have a good offense. They don't have a good defense. These teams are close by location-wise, but that's about it. The roster should be completely different. North Carolina should roll through this game 35-21, and they're 7-3. Saturday, November 23rd at Boston College. Boston College, you have Bill O'Brien stepping in as the head coach. You had Castellanos last year. They actually had a pretty decent run game last season, but he's retooling this roster in his more pro-style type scheme. They're not going to be ready for the Tar Heels. Tar Heels are going to win this one 38-24, and they're 8-3. Final game of the season, Saturday, November 30th, a game that they would love to win versus NC State. I think the Tar Heels will be a borderline top 25 team right now, 22 or 23. NC State is also probably going to be ranked pretty similar. Some people have them winning 10 games this season. They have a good defense. They have a good offense. They have a good run game, and they're physical. So they can rely on their defense. They can rely on their run game, but so can Carolina. So this game's almost 50-50, can go either way. But I'm going to go with NC State getting the win, 30-28. Really close, and maybe a missed field goal at the end, or maybe NC State makes a field goal to end the game. I have the Tar Heels finishing the regular season 8-4, so I am going over the Vegas prediction of 7.5. I think ceiling 9-3, floor 7-5. But 8-4 is where I'm coming in at. But there's a couple games here that they could play it really close and pull out. That's my breakdown of our 2024 North Carolina Tar Heels. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below and I will respond. Thank you.